Covering new airline route announcements is always something I find really exciting, and I think that's pretty obvious given the amount of videos I've made so far related to this topic. American Airlines just made a huge international announcement, one that reflects its largest transatlantic expansion since 2019. Effective from next summer, the airline will add 3 new European destinations in addition to increasing service to existing European, Caribbean, and Latin American cities. In today's video, we will go into detail what all of these new service additions are and when they will go into effect. Thanks a lot for joining me, and I hope you'll enjoy. Starting right away with the most anticipated news, all 3 of American's new European destinations will be served from Philadelphia. The addition of these 3 new cities will bring American to 15 daily nonstop flights to 14 European cities from Philadelphia next summer, representing its largest transatlantic schedule from Philly since 2019. Not only this, but American will serve a total of 11 countries across Europe once these flights begin. So, what are these new destinations? Well, the first new destination to launch next summer will be Nice, France. Daily service from Philadelphia launches May 6th with the Boeing 787-9. As you can tell, this will be American's first time ever serving Nice, and it's about time since United and Delta have both been offering service to Nice for quite a while now. Around 1 month later, on June 5th, American will inaugurate new service to Naples, Italy. Naples is American's 4th Italian destination following Rome, Milan, and Venice. American will be serving Naples daily from Philadelphia with the 787-8. The third new destination, and in my opinion the most exciting, will launch the following day on June 6, 2024. American Airlines will begin serving Copenhagen, Denmark from Philadelphia with daily service on the 787-9. This marks the first time in years that the carrier will offer service to the Scandinavian region. I can't remember how long it's been exactly, but if I had to guess, probably 9 years at least. American previously offered seasonal service between Chicago and Helsinki, Finland with the 767-300. This service eventually ended sometime around 2014. So those are the 3 new cities American will be serving from next summer. But we are nowhere near being done with this route announcement as there's plenty of material left to cover. But before we move on, I wanted to quickly share a rather underappreciated resource that I think you should know about. Now let me first start off by saying that this is not sponsored. I'm not cool enough to be sponsored, so please don't think I'm plugging a random sketchy website that will steal your money and information. No, that's not what this is. I'd like to introduce you all to WingTalkers. WingTalkers is a website where you can find free resources on virtually any aspect of the aviation and aerospace industry, whether those be articles or guides. If you've ever considered a career in aviation, you will without a doubt find at least some valuable information from this website because literally everything from educational requirements to career opportunities, it's all listed here. If you like reading about aviation news topics, various articles are also at your disposal, such as this one on the Boeing 797. It's also worth noting that the individuals running WingTalkers have a combined 100 years of experience in aviation, all of whom have attained master's degrees and also FAA and EASA licenses. Therefore, you can be sure that the information displayed on this website is coming from reputable resources. If you're interested, definitely check out the WingTalkers website, which will be linked in the description. The next part of this American Airlines expansion video is actually unrelated to the rest of the official announcement, but I still thought it would make sense to include this news as well. Last year, I made a video about American launching service from New York JFK to Doha in Qatar. Effective from October 29th, American will be shifting that service from New York to Philadelphia. The new service from Philly to Doha will continue operating daily, but instead of the 777, American will deploy the 787-9. Now, on the surface, this seems like a very random change, but I actually think that for American at least, moving the route to operate from Philadelphia makes a lot more sense. In the most recent episode of American's podcast, Tell Me Why, Senior Vice President of Network Planning, Mr. Brian Znotins, especially highlighted how JFK and Philly are two totally different airports for American in terms of how the carrier is able to operate from them. American has a hub at both JFK and PHL. However, the extent to which American is able to exercise its operations at both airports is vastly different. As you might know, JFK is heavily slot restricted and much busier than Philadelphia. Because of this, American can't bring in as many flights to JFK during a certain period as it would be able to in Philadelphia. In the podcast, Brian mentions how during a certain period where they could bring maybe 8 flights into JFK, they could bring 40 into Philadelphia within the same time frame. So the point here is that because JFK is so slot restricted, most of the routes American operates from there are primarily targeting local traffic. American's primary customer base from JFK is the greater population of New York City and surrounding areas. So destinations like Delhi, London, Paris, etc. exist from JFK because there is a large enough customer base in the area to justify operating them. But shifting our attention to Philadelphia, American has such a huge presence at the airport that it's able to make it more of a connection hub than point-to-point like JFK. That's primarily why American chose to operate the new European routes from Philadelphia, because there may not be as much demand for these routes out of New York. At least from Philadelphia, American is able to depend on both local and connecting traffic to fill its flights going to Europe, and they can do the same for Doha as well. But what makes Doha unique is that unlike the European destinations, Doha is not much of a popular tourist destination. While it definitely should be considered as such, barely anyone from the US is actually flying into Doha as their final destination. Most customers coming from Western countries fly into Doha and then connect onto Qatar Airways flights bound for countries primarily in Africa, Asia, and Oceania. So the weird reality here, it seems, is that a lot of people flying aboard American's Philadelphia to Doha flight will both be connecting in Philadelphia from somewhere else, and then again in Doha to somewhere else. But putting connections aside, Philadelphia and nearby New Jersey as a whole have a large South Asian customer base, so moving the Doha flight here might actually attract a lot of this local traffic. I'd assume that aside from the connectivity with American Airlines, that must be one of the reasons why Qatar Airways began serving Philadelphia over 9 years ago. The most interesting thing in all of this is that when American launches Philadelphia to Doha in October, there will be 2 daily flights between these 2 cities. That's not a bad thing at all, but what I'm wondering is how sustainable this setup will be for the long run. After all, both American and Qatar flights depart right around the same time, so that really makes me wonder, are there enough connecting and local passengers every day through Philly to justify 2 daily flights to Doha? The worst case scenario, in my opinion, would be American doesn't end up doing very well on the Philadelphia to Doha route because they'd literally be losing out to partner Qatar Airways. This would make them cut the route after a few months, and if that happens, I'd love to see them move Doha service to a hub not currently served by Qatar Airways, like Charlotte or Phoenix, but time will tell if that will ever happen. Moving on, as part of its largest transatlantic expansion since the pandemic, American is also increasing frequencies to various existing destinations in Europe. This includes a brand new route between its largest hub in Dallas-Fort Worth and Barcelona, Spain. This service will run daily from June 5th on the Boeing 777-200ER. On that same day, American will revive seasonal service from Chicago to Venice, Italy on the 787-8. This service was previously offered pre-pandemic, and I'm glad to see it resuming. There are also certain existing seasonal routes that American will be tweaking ever so slightly so that they can start earlier in the season, which is good news for travelers. The first of these routes is Charlotte to Dublin, Ireland, which resumes on March 5th with the 777-200ER. Seasonal service from JFK to Athens, Greece will resume later in the month on March 31st, also with the 777-200ER. Seasonal service from Philadelphia to Venice resumes on April 4th with the 787-8, and the seasonal Chicago to Athens route will resume May 6th with the 787-9. Some even more exciting news is that 5 previously seasonal routes will soon be upgauged to year-round service. Charlotte to Madrid, Spain on the 777-200ER, Philadelphia to Barcelona on the 787-8, Philadelphia to Lisbon, Portugal on the 787-9 in the summer and -8 in the winter, Dallas to Dublin, Ireland on the 777-200ER in the summer and 787-8 in the winter, and Dallas to Rome on the 787-8 and -9. So that was a lot of long-haul flying that we covered for American Airlines. This last part of the video details some service increases American will make to certain Caribbean and Latin American routes. These changes mainly go into effect from this coming winter, with one exception for this October. That exception is American's current 5 times weekly service between Dallas and Buenos Aires, Argentina, which will soon increase to daily service from October 29th. Between January 8th and April 3rd, 5 routes will receive increased frequencies, but only within this period. Dallas to Cozumel, Mexico will increase to twice daily. Miami to Anguilla will also go twice daily. Miami to Bridgetown, Barbados and St. Martin will both increase to thrice daily. Finally, Miami to Tortola in the British Virgin Islands will increase to 3 daily flights, but only on Saturdays. Between February 15th and April 3rd, a similar series of frequency increases will be applied to 4 routes to the Bahamas. 3 routes from Charlotte, which previously operated at various points during the week, will be boosted to daily service within this period. These include Charlotte to Eleuthera, Georgetown, and Marsh Harbor. The 4th service will be Dallas to Nassau, that increases to twice daily. It's worth noting that these adjustments and service additions further cement American Airlines' position as the largest airline currently offering service between the United States and Mexico, the Caribbean, and Latin America. Overall, American has some exciting route plans coming very soon to its network, and I'm excited to see how these will perform. The airline continues to take delivery of new aircraft, especially 787s, with 30 787-9s expected to be delivered through 2024. It goes without saying that these new planes will be instrumental in the growth soon to be experienced by American Airlines. Let me know what you make of this news and how you think these new routes will perform for American Airlines. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing aviation content. Until next time, take care everyone, and see you soon.